Hey guys, Brandon here with Simply Bee Designs. I just wanted to make a short video on easy ways to set up LEDs. I've had a lot of people in Facebook groups or message me about how to wire up LEDs or what's the easiest way. So I'm going to go through a way to do it without any kind of soldering and basically just needing one tool. So generally with LEDs, they come in all different sizes, and you might see these kind of kits online. 3mm, 5mm, 10mm. But when you're dealing with these, you're going to have to solder the connections. You're also going to have to do some math on it, which we're not going to go over, to know like what kind of resistors you need to run. This is going to take all of that math and hardness out of it and show you how to do it without math or soldering skills. So the three ways I'm going to show you today are three simple ways, and fits whether you're doing something that's going to be permanently an item that's displayed or whatnot, or if you're doing kind of like a cosplay where you need it to be mobile. So first we'll do AC connection, then we're going to go over a battery style connection, and finally we'll do a USB connection. All of this we're going to do with basically one tool, which is a set of wire strippers. These come in all different shapes and sizes. These are just the ones I had on hand right now. But that's really the only tool we're going to need for everything we're about to do here. So what we're going to be using today are pre-wired 12-volt LEDs. These LEDs already have resistors built right in, and they can carry up to 12 volts of power. They come in any color imaginable. Come in blinking ones, solid colors, whatever you'd like. I'll have links in the descriptions below if you're looking to purchase some of these. We'll start out with the easiest connection, which is AC. Some people call these wall warts, AC adapters, power adapters. And you can buy these right on Amazon, and what they come with is this nice little connector piece that will fit right on the end. And this is going to be about the simplest connection we can do today. So you will need one extra tool for this, which is a small screwdriver for these little tiny holes down here. So what I did was took my LED and my strippers and just stripped the wire down, so I had some of the bare wire showing. And these are very simple. They're all going to have two colors to them. As you'll notice, the black one is always going to be your negative, and the color which correlates to the color of the LED is going to be your positive. So it's really hard to get these mixed up. On the wall wart side, on the little plug, I don't know if that'll focus, but it also tells you positive and negative, or your plus and your minus. So all we have to do is back these out just a little bit. Make sure we have our negative in the negative, our positive in the positive, plugs right in. And this happens to be a 12-volt adapter. You can get these in all different sizes. You can do a 5 volts, a 12 volt, you just can't go above 12 volt. Because these are 12-volt LEDs. So 12-volt one I'll have linked below, and that's going to give you the best brightness. And as you can see, we're up and running on an AC adapter. So let's move on to the next. So next we're going to go on to do battery connection. You can get these battery fillers online, pretty much any style you want, AA, AAA, 9-volt. I'm going to use a 9-volt today because, again, since we're using 12-volt LEDs, the closer we can get to 12-volt, the brighter it's going to be. And I'll show an example of that later. To do this without soldering, I'm going to introduce one new thing, which I use quite often in my projects, which are wire nuts. These make your job very simple. Again, your battery connection is going to be two colors. Black is negative, red is positive. Same on here. You've got our colors for the positive. We're going to connect together and just wire nut. And then we'll do the same on the negative side. Now if you didn't want to use wire nuts, you could just put these together and use electrical tape. Either way is fine. This is just what I'm doing to show a simple way where you don't need any kind of soldering. Grab a battery. You can see how it lights right up. So if you needed LEDs that were going to be in something moving, or you didn't have access to a wall outlet or anything, this is a good way to go if you want to run it off batteries. Third way we're going to do this is with USB connection. And this is, I guess, the trickiest of the three, but it's still very simple to do. It doesn't matter what kind of connection is on the end. As long as you have USB on one end, you can cut it and use it however you need. So I'm literally just going to cut the tip off this cable. And you can use an old cable you have laying around or buy them online. So I've stripped back this shielding with my wire cutters, and you can see this USB is just a power USB. So it only has two wires coming out, your positive and negative. Sometimes you'll find these that have 4 or 5. If they're USBs that also carry data, so you might see like a white and a green. You can still use those, you just can cut those additional wires off. They will still have a black and a red, which is your positive and negative. Alright, so now I've stripped the tips of those wires, so I have some bare wire showing. And again, we're just going to go red to positive, black to negative. And we can bring in our wire nuts again. Or again, you could use electrical tape here. And just like that, we are up and running. And just to show you power differences, USB is always going to run on 5 volts, which is less than half of what this LED can handle. And you always want to get as close to that maximum voltage as you can, because it'll actually be brighter. Now, it's probably going to be hard to see on camera, but I brought back in our AC adapter version, which is 12 volts. Next to this 5 volt version, both with a green LED. And you can kind of see how that 12 volt version is quite a bit brighter. So the more voltage you can get to it, the brighter that LED is going to be. Now in a lot of projects you're doing, you might be running multiple LEDs. And this process for all of these connections will work the exact same way. All I've done here with our wall adapter is I've ran all the negatives into the negative outlet, all the positives into the positive outlet. And this will let us run multiple different LEDs at once. And we could keep adding on to this quite a bit. With these LEDs, you're not going to really run into a power issue. The only time you might is if you start running on a battery. Both the brightness and the longevity could play a role. But if you're using either USB or the wall adapter, this wouldn't be an issue. And I'll show you one other easy way to do this. Another way to run multiple LEDs is to use these little wire breakouts where you can connect multiple wires into one little unit. So what we're going to do here is use this one for our positive connection. And all I'm going to do is take our 3 LEDs we have here and put all 3 positives in here. Just like that. I have another one I'll use for the negative side. And you can get these that'll connect more than just 4 or 5. They make larger sizes if depending on the number of LEDs you're looking to run. So we have all of our positives in one box, all of our negatives in the other. And then what I've done is just grab some extra wire I had, and I'll use the red for positive and green for negative. And I'm also going to add this to one of the slots in there. And this is where the power is actually going to come from. So now we can take our wall box again. Here's our green, which we set as our negative line. And our red, which was our positive line. And plug it in that way. And these still have an extra slot in them where I could add another one. Or like I said, you can get these that offer even more connections. So depending on how many LEDs you need to run, you can just keep on adding these. You can also daisy chain these. If I wanted to add a third or a fourth, I could just daisy chain from this negative to the next one, to the next one, to the next one. And the last thing I'll show is a button if you need one to control everything. So I've got that same setup we used before, but as you'll see, I removed the positive cable that I was running. And what we're going to add in is this pre-wired latching switch. You can hear that it latches down and then it's up. If you're looking online, you'll see two main types. There's momentary or latching. Momentary means you'd have to hold it for the LEDs to be on. Latching means it's on, off. And all we're going to do with this, you can't really look at these as positive and negative. It's basically just positive. And what we're going to do is connect one end of it along with our positive lines for our LEDs, the other end of it into the positive end of the power. And it's going to sit in between as a little breaker. And again, if you were using wire nuts, you could do the same thing, and this will work on any of the other setups as well. So now when we give it power, it's not doing anything, it's not on. You'll have to actually push on your on-off button in order to get the power to flow through. So that's all I had for this video. I do a lot of my wiring using both this process as well as LED strips with controllers. And I do recommend you take the time to learn soldering, but I know a lot of people are either scared of it or don't have time for it, so this is a really quick, easy solution. If you want me to do more advanced videos on either the programming with the controllers or with getting into soldering, let me know below and I'd be happy to put one of those together. Thanks for watching.